Hello and welcome to the second video in the RAFT self-build tutorials. In this video I'm going to show you how to fit a Boston valve onto your Packraft fabric. This is one of the first things I do when making the Packraft because you need to let the glue set so you can get it done and then put it aside while you carry on with other tasks. So what you'll need to do, your fabric is going to be pre-marked with where the valve should go, but you will need to cut out. So the first thing to do is cut out your 4cm circle. This circle will be covered up by this bit of fabric and the base plate of the valve, so don't worry about it being an absolute perfect circle because it's going to be sealed with glue and you're not going to be able to see the edges. So there you go, that's your circle cut out. If you take the base plate of the Boston valve, what that's going to be doing, that's going to be sitting just through that circle on the outside, so the shiny side of the fabric, and it's just going to be protruding through like so. This need to be keyed with a bit of sandpaper. So if we just give it a quick sand, and this is to make sure the glue sticks to it nicely. You're going to be gluing from both sides of it, so you need to do both sides with the sandpaper. Make sure you get right up to the edge in the middle, so the glue gets a nice strong bond. Okay, so you're going to have your Aquashore, which is included in the kit. So we'll pop that open for the first time, and that just needs piercing. These come with gloves, so put gloves on, but I won't put them on so you can see clearly what I'm doing in the video. And you need to glue the side of the base plate with these 3 little bits protruding out, not the other side, well, not at this stage. Don't put too much glue on because all it will do is just squeeze out to the edges and make a mess. So just make sure it's evenly covered. There is a brush included with the Aquashore, so you can distribute it evenly with that. Okay, and that's going on the glue side down onto the shiny side, that is the TPU. So just put that through the hole that you've just made. As you can see, a bit of glue will come out around the edges, that's perfectly normal. So here I've made a tool to assist with this. This is just a piece of wood which I've taken an aperture out of approximately 45mm. So the 40mm of the Boston valve base plate will sit in there quite nicely. And if I just pop this underneath, you'll see that just sits in there, and that will give you a nice solid surface to push down on and make sure the glue gets a good bond. If you don't have the tools to make this, or you can't be bothered, then you can just pack something in there so the plate is sitting on things all around, maybe some magazines or books, just to lift it up so you can push down properly on it. So now you've got that on there, we're going to glue the top side that you've already sandpapered with the Aquashore, using approximately the same amount as the bottom. So take your Aquashore, and again just making sure you're going right up to the inner edge, and the outer edge not so important because it will naturally squeeze out to that. And once that glue's on there, you're going to take your valve fabric. Now I've already cut the 4cm hole out exactly the same as cutting the hole out of the material. It doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be covered up with this bit of the valve, so you'll never see it. So that's a 4cm hole, and you want to cut that out in the center of your 10cm ring. So the TPU, the shiny side down, always shiny side to the shiny side. And you put that over there. And you can give this a slight twist around to ensure that the glue spreads around evenly. And then if we push it flat and make sure the glue takes to that nicely. Now that's done, and that's going to need to be left to set. So what I do is I get a small weight and I just leave it overnight to set like that. Tomorrow, once it's set, we'll get our heat sealing iron and we'll iron the little ring left around the edge. So that means that you've got the glue giving it airtightness, and then for added security you've then got the heat sealable fabric, then putting an extra layer of protection on. So we'll put that aside and we'll leave that overnight to set. So it's now the morning, and I've let the glue dry overnight. So you can see the Boston valve plate is glued in place. So what we're going to do now is seal this fabric down around the edge. It's really important that you let the glue dry first, so don't try and skip the step and heat seal it straight away. So I'm going to put it on top of my cut out piece of wood again, just so I've got a solid surface to work on. Again, if you don't have one of these, just get some books or magazines and slide them one each side, just so the base plate is resting on something that we can then push down on. But make sure you don't melt it with the iron. Okay, so still with the iron, be very careful if you're using the Jamara ProStar, because it's extremely large to do this bit, and just push the tip of the iron up against the edge of the base plate and try and seal that inner section first. Get a nice solid seal on that. Don't do too large an area at a time, just work on about 2 centimeters just to get that sealed to the fabric to fabric. Pay attention to what the back of your iron is doing, because the heat from that iron could transfer down and onto the TPU of your main bit of fabric. So obviously keep it at an angle like that, and don't try and iron like that. You can see here the TPU is starting to activate and it's sticking down rather than continuing to pop up. And just continue around, pushing up against the ridge of the base plate. So now I've ironed all around the edge. If if you move the fabric like that and you can see anywhere where you can pick with your nail or anything like that, just go carefully up to the edge and seal it off, paying attention not to go on the TPU and do that. If you're a bit worried about doing that, you can flip it over and you can iron from this side as well, just to ensure a good seal. So I'll do a bit of that now. Okay, so I've now just ironed this from the reverse side, the non-TPU side. It's worth noting that the area I was ironing was exactly the same. I was pushing up to the ridge of the base plate as in there. Don't iron on top of the base plate because that's where the glue and the PVC base plate is, so you don't want to iron that just up to the ridge of it around in a circle, and that's what I've done. So once that's ironed from that side, we've done the edges on that, that's complete. And you can now fit on the actual valve itself. That will cover up any bits of glue you've got, or if you haven't cut a perfect circle. So get your circle and just pop it over the edge like that. And that's your Boston valve installed. And that's ready to go on the boat. It's probably best if you leave this off for now anyway, because then you don't have the added weight on. Thanks for watching. In the next video, I'll show you how to connect the tubing to the floor of your Packraft as part of our self-build tutorials with RAFT.